Hey, what's up, guys? This is Daniel from Bar Shield, back with Bar Tip Tuesday, episode 85. So we're just going to give you kind of a high-level differences between an Olympic barbell and a powerlifting barbell. We're not really going to talk a whole lot about multi-purpose ones you'll see like in CrossFit or functional gyms, but just as a quick overview, just some of the main differences that you're going to see. So starting with the Olympic weightlifting barbell, it's obviously a little bit more specific, as is a powerlifting bar. But the two big things are going to be the whip on the bar, so how much it's going to flex, and then as well as the sleeves. So does it have bushings in the sleeves? Does it have bearings? So with a weightlifting bar, typically it's going to come in the 28 millimeter diameter size. So it's a lot of the multi-purpose ones are like 28 and a half, so they're a little bit thicker, so it's easier to get your hand on the bar, especially if you have smaller hands. And on the other side of the spectrum with the powerlifting bar, they're usually made to be a little bit more durable, so they're definitely going to be more stiff and rigid. So typically they make those in 29 millimeter size, so they're a little bit thicker, just to withstand the all the weight that's added to the bar, because the primary use for a powerlifting bar is to move the most weight. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? So the other thing, as far as the whip goes, you're not going to see a whole lot of whip. Just like I was saying, on the powerlifting bar, it's a more rigid bar. The whip is definitely a humongous factor in weightlifting. So if you ever see like Hook Grip or All Things Gym on YouTube, they have a bunch of like slow-mo videos. That's probably the best way to actually see it in action. So if you're doing like a split jerk or a clean, you'll see the bar actually flex around the person lifting. So if they're going overhead with like a split jerk, you'll see the bar flex, and then you'll see it go back up. So it basically, all that stored energy is stored when it flexes around you, and then when it goes back to straight, it almost like flings up. So when it straightens, so it actually helps the lifter if you time it correctly. If you do not time it correctly, it doesn't work out so hot. And then moving on to the sleeves. So this is something that's kind of come up in the comments over and over again. As far as, do my sleeves need to spin? It depends. It depends on what you're doing. So are you doing CrossFit? Are you weightlifting? Or are you doing powerlifting? Okay, I'll start with powerlifting. You do not need your bars to spin when you're squatting, benching, or deadlifting. It's simply just, you do not need it. So those ones are going to be, they most commonly will have bushings. So you still will, the sleeves will still spin, but it's not a humongous factor. It's not going to aid or help you with the lifts, those big three lifts. In weightlifting, you definitely want a bar that has a reliable spin. So with an Olympic weightlifting bar, most of them are going to have a needle bearing. So they have sets of needle bearings inside the sleeve itself, so it provides a consistent and quiet spin most of the time, especially if it's a quality bar. Some of the cheaper bars, you can still hear it they're kind of loud in comparison to someone like Rogue Fitness is a pretty good example, because it's a very quiet spin, it's reliable, and they require less maintenance. So they'll have needle bearings. Powerlifting has bushing. Another difference, and this is just in general, yes, they make different options in this, so just take that with a grain of salt. So is with the knurling. Typically on like an Olympic training bar, you're going to see a more passive knurling. Again, you can request to get a bar that has a more aggressive knurling, and it also depends on the finish. But then if you go up to a competition bar, like an Aleco or something like that, just from personal experience, those are sharp. So that's not your everyday training bar, but that's going to offer a superior grip. And then on the other side with the powerlifting, traditionally it's going to be a sharper teeth on the knurling. So it's obviously going to help you hold on for a 1 rep max deadlift, or and then kind of going off that too, a lot of the times you'll see a center knurling on powerlifting bars. Depending if it's a squat or deadlift bar, there's specific types of powerlifting bars. So some of them will have that middle knurling, so it will help stay on your back in one spot so it doesn't move around. That's why you see people chalk up all the time to try to keep that bar nice and snug and secure against your back. In a weightlifting bars, some of them, again, it's more of an option that most companies will offer nowadays. So whether it's a passive knurling or a more aggressive one, again, in competition, it's going to be more of an aggressive one, just to help with the bar when you're in a front rack position and you're going down for a split jerk. You don't want to slide down your chest. So those are a few different differences between an Olympic weightlifting bar and a powerlifting bar. Just a quick note with multi-purpose bars, we'll kind of get into that in a later episode, but it's kind of like a happy medium. So you can it's better for an all-around purpose. I mean, that's hence the name. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, make sure to hit us up on Instagram or info@barshieldUSA.com, and we'll see you next week.